Listen. I'd say Annabelle is the most iconic in the ever-expanding Conjuring cinematic universe. If they tried hyping up the nun as their Thanos, then Annie's the Loki who's always just causing havoc. We already have a video breaking down the entire universe if you need a recap, but when it comes to comparing the three, Annabelle Far From Homecoming ain't as great as Creation. It's definitely better than the first, but I thought it was still a solid rent it because they decided to go a different route with this one that surprised me because they had these things called anti-jump scares. Let me explain. So in case you missed the recap, the story for Annabelle goes as follows. She gets arisen when these two parents lose their daughter and get duped into summoning a spirit that embodies this doll. In real life, it's actually based off of a Raggedy Ann doll that makes several cameos throughout the series, but considering that the movie version is way more menacing, these two parents and the entire incoming orphanage at the house stood no chance. The demon controlling the doll ends up transferring over to one of the girls in the orphanage, who ends up escaping. She joins the cult, and years later offs her new adoptive parents as the next door neighbor watches, which leads us to the events of the first movie, which I'm not going to waste your time on. Cut to the Warrens, who are picking her up in order to lock her up in their basement, and Lorraine even mentions how Annabelle is a conduit possessing other things. Pretty much he's saying that Annabelle's a hype piece when it comes to the other demons. It's that approach that makes it kind of feel like a Goosebumps movie. They even called it a Christian movie themselves, which, no better way to prove God than to prove the devil. But what I mean by anti-scares is that they'll have a lot of moments where they build up for a loud noise, and a lot of jump scares do this thing where you wonder how they couldn't even sense the person behind them, or why is it that there's a huge violin thing that comes out of nowhere. Here it's nothing. It's like an hour and 20 minutes of edging before they give you one big scare. Now to some of you that's an automatic, yeah, I'm saving my money, I'm staying inside. But I liked it. This director has actually written all three Annabelle movies, and he also did the It movies. And I like how now that he's directing, he's going a little bit of a different route, because while the movie is called Annabelle, it's not really about her. She doesn't really go home or anywhere for that matter. It's really a question about when Lorraine's coming home, since her daughter feels alone, Since this one happened smack dab in the middle of these, they decided to recast the actress who had been playing the daughter faster than Thrones did Marcella. But it makes sense to get Mckenna for this one, since she's, I kid you not, literally been playing the younger version of every character that's interacted with a ghost.
I thought a lot about what it was like to be the daughter of Ed and Lorraine Warren, and knowing what they did, and when they leave the house, they're going into really certain danger, or you didn't know what they were going to bring back, and you were living in this house that had this room full of horrors.
It's interesting seeing the story of the Warrens from the perspective of their daughter, since she's getting haunted at school and it's no big deal to her. Alex Wolff almost lost his head in Hereditary when he saw an old lady. Judy's like, ugh, give me some space. Not only is she being chased like it follows and it's normal to her, but she's getting bullied at school for getting cooties from ghosts. Middle schoolers are worse than demons. Her parents are always away shooting a Conjuring movie, so she's getting babysat by Mary, who, let's be honest, no wife would sign that check. The most unbelievable part of this movie wasn't the demons and all the crazy stuff that happens. It's the idea that Lorraine would have no problem letting Mary stay in her home next to Ed. She's clairvoyant. Ed be dead. Mary's friend Daniela then comes over, and at first you think that she's just one of those girls who came straight out of a Ouija movie trying to cause trouble.
Do I like my find? Ooh.
But then we see her true motives. Judy and Mary go outside, leaving Daniela inside, calling out to the spirits to open the basement door where all the items are at, and the demons are like, not yet, we'll open it later when it's convenient for the plot. She ends up finding the keys in their office behind a picture of Jesus, which, sure, take the wheel, but guys, keep the keys on you at all times. She goes downstairs, and if you work for a museum, if you're one of those anal people who always want to make sure people are off the grass, I'm telling you, skip this movie, because Daniela goes down there and touches everything.
What else did you touch? Everything.
I'm talking about, she was touching things that weren't even on the screen. At this point, we realize that she's not a party girl looking over here to cause some craziness, but she's mourning the loss of her dad, who died in a car accident. The car that she was driving, and thus she blames herself. And when this hoe hears all these intimate details, Danielle then walks up to Annie's glass case, which says, Positively do not. She opens it. Danielle then heads upstairs when the cake in the oven burns, but I'm telling you right now that I was surprised to see that for the first time ever, Annabelle is finally acting the next Meryl. I actually really like the backstory to Danielle because that grief, that guilt would push you to go into this haunted carnival of possessions. Like, you would be touching everything because you want it to be real. If you can prove there's an afterlife, you salvage the chance of being able to talk to your dad one more time. And it's interesting because you have one character who's willing to enter the world of The Conjuring in order to reach her parent, which is beautiful when you contrast it to Judy's character, who feels that the world of The Conjuring is what's distancing herself from her parents. And Annabelle just don't give a damn about any of that. Like I said, the movie feels like an adult's Goosebumps tale, as this poster tells you, and even the trailer. They know that Annabelle's just a selling point. That's the only reason her name's on the poster. It's more that you're coming into the home of the Conjuring universe. You're going into the room where they have all the infinity stones that are demonic. And it feels like a more demented Pee-wee's Playhouse. You know, you have this samurai story that's being told on Audible in the background. Judy sees this bride mannequin that keeps haunting him. There's this ferryman who collects coins as his toll, and they kind of take a lights out, darkness falls approach where you have to shine a light on him in order to disappear. There's this hellhound file that they have with a specific date in case there's an upcoming movie, and we see it almost annihilate Mary's boyfriend. An evil feely mealy game for those who didn't see Velvet Buzzsaw this year. And my personal favorite, which was this super creepy futuristic TV that can see the future like 10 seconds ahead. They're claiming all of these things are not meant to foreshadow spin-offs, but neither were these, and they now have franchises. So Feely Mealy Netflix series coming soon. In the midst of all these hauntings, you get some other stuff that I thought was pretty interesting, like this kid Bob who pulls up serenading them like Miguel from Coco. There's a really cool shot of Annabelle's shadow that shows you every incarnation of her from the previous movies. I legit burst out laughing at the clip where they call the Warrens for help, and Annabelle answers.
I'm sorry?
What's up?
And then, I kid you not, they defeat her by bobbing and weaving till they knocked her out good night. They press play on one of Ed's exorcisms since they already had the Our Father pre-recorded, and then dip. Bob has enough balls to get his kiss. Danielle dresses up like Daphne as she's inspired to bust ghosts. And Judy realizes that what her parents do for a living doesn't just help the dead, but their loved ones who are still grieving. Oh, and it also makes for a profitable franchise. Thank you guys for checking out this video. I'm curious to know your thoughts down below in the comment section. Like I said, I believe the Llorona, some people are arguing that it's not in the universe, but like I was in attendance at South by when they said it was a part of the universe. Annabelle's clearly a part of the universe. They got the Crooked Man. They got another Conjuring movie coming out. This franchise is not stopping anytime soon, and it'll be interesting to see where they take it. I think it's interesting that in 2019, not really interesting, but sad that we have had so many people for these big franchises that you kind of have in memoriam, with Lorraine passing this year, Stan Lee's passing, Don Rickles for Toy Story. Like, these things are starting to become even more depressing as they get older because everyone who started these are going to end up passing away. I do think that they could have done a little bit more with the movie because they could have easily put a Valak thing in there, considering that was an Easter egg if you saw the recap video or if you've been following along, where Valak should still have had its name within the house since that's what it was planning on doing for the sequel. I also think that it's kind of interesting how it was very difficult to bring in Annabelle. Then Annabelle and the entire room of goons come to life and they couldn't go up against three girls. I'm starting to think the ferryman just had a crush on Annabelle and was trying to flex for her because he could have easily left if he wanted to, and he didn't. I'm curious to know your thoughts about this movie. Again, for me, it still goes Creation, then this one, and then the first one, which I'm not a real big fan of. But let me know how you would rank them, how you would rank the entire Conjuring universe in your perspective. And until next time, don't forget to comment, like, and subscribe. And she'll leave your closet.